Who's in charge of your children's education? Well, if a proposed ballot measure gets its way, you may soon be in charge of your kids' education. Rain, rain, go away. The wet weather causing nightmares across Southern California. We had a rare tornado warning. Traffic's terrible on the freeways. Even fire trucks can't escape the wrath of the rain, and the worst is yet to come. And Geronimo, a skydiving stunt you won't believe. Wait till you see this guy and what he does when he hits the water. All the stories you're talking about and the ones you need to know right now on The Filter. Hello again on The Filter Forefront, our top 4 of the day, including buy a gun, read the Bible. But we'll start with this. How often do you drive faster than the speed limit? Now, honestly, you go a little faster than you're supposed to most of the time. And that has the governor licking his chops. He wants to put red light cameras for speeding throughout the state. You speed, the camera takes your picture, and you get a ticket for $225 in the mail. If you're more than 15 miles over the limit, it's $325. The governor says the state would net $338 million next year. Big Brother is watching. Do you like it? Our contributors tonight, the editor of RedCounty.com, Matt Cunningham, and Emmy Award-winning journalist David Reese. And David, I'll start with you. As a man who speeds most of the time, do you want cameras following your every move?
No, but then again, I don't like red light cameras either, and they probably actually prevent some accidents and some unsafe driving. So I think there's kind of a balance here. But I mean, my thing is this. Do you really want to automate law enforcement? Because that's what this really is. You know, do you want to have cameras everywhere? I mean, if you go to places in Europe, for example, they have cameras on every street corner capturing everything you do. And that's how they do law enforcement over there. You know, if you want to be on camera all the time, I guess this is the way to go. It'll probably prevent stuff. The state of Arizona has tried this, and it's my understanding they have had some of the lowest traffic fatality rates there in years. So maybe these cameras actually work. Do I think it's a great idea? Probably not. I think it's still a good idea to have police out there patrolling the roads and not cameras. But will it work? It might, and it'll certainly raise money, although I think it's interesting to point out that the police are not excited about this. They don't like this idea, and I think it's probably because they don't want to lose their jobs.
Matt, what do you think?
I think it's a terrible idea. They make no bones about it. This has nothing to do with saving lives or law enforcement. This is simply to raise more money from taxpayers, from the people. Why not make it $1,000 if you're driving over the speed limit? Why not $1,500? That's the principle we're establishing. If we're going to use law enforcement as a means of extracting money from the people, the sky is the limit, especially when Sacramento has shown no capability of restraining its own appetite. They're looking under every figurative sofa cushion for extra money.
But is it safe to say, Matt, can we say that this might help prevent accidents?
It might, but there's a lot of things you can do to prevent accidents if you're willing to give up more and more of your liberty and your freedom. I mean, we could.
Yeah, but if you're not doing anything wrong, Matt, then what do you have to be afraid of? What liberties are you giving up if you're obeying the speed limit?
You're having, as you said, David, you're putting cameras all over the state so the government can watch what you're doing. If they're using the cameras to watch if you're speeding, they can use the cameras for other reasons too.
All right, guys.
Well, they do that in Europe, and it's working out great. So,
well, Europe's got less freedom than we have.
All right. You know what? I think you both make valid points. Great news now. If you get sick, now if you're in an HMO, you only have to wait 10 days to see a doctor. Only 10 days. Personally, I don't want to wait 10 minutes. According to the state's new doctor-patient guidelines, HMO patients must see a doctor within 10 days and a specialist within 15 days. And if you need urgent care, you must be seen within 48 hours. Because when I think something is urgent, I usually wait 48 hours to address it. California is the first state to set time standards for HMO patients. But if I have an HMO, then I have insurance. So why should I have to wait? What do you think about the new rules, Matt?
I'm opposed to them, and I'll tell you why. I think it's part and parcel of this mentality that the government could just make a rule and reality will bend itself to follow that fiat. Why not make it 2 days? Why not 12 days? Why not 5? And if we're going to go for arbitrary rules about when HMOs have to see patients within, I mean, does it matter? What if they don't have enough doctors? What if they don't have enough doctors in certain specialties to see your need? There's no thought given to the cost consequences, and I find it laughable that the same state government that has a hard time operating any of its agencies with any modicum of efficiency is dictating to what's left of private industry in the medical field how best to meet customer service needs.
Well, we do know this, that they're not really meeting their needs when it comes to medical care. If now you have to see a doctor within 10 days, 10 days, like I said, I don't want to wait 10 minutes.
But is that a result of an inherent flaw in the private marketplace, or is that because we have a heavily regulated medical marketplace?
Well, I think it's an inherent flaw in the private marketplace, quite honestly. They're not doing their job.
Well, I would disagree with you. I think it has much more to do with the fact we have the medical industry. The medical care is a heavily government-regulated sector of the economy.
David, what do you think?
Well, heavily regulated, but also self-regulated. I mean, these rules came about from a 2002 law that stipulated that HMOs had to be more receptive and had to be more service-oriented. 2002, it took them 8 years to figure out how to make this law. And you know why that is? In part because the industry has so much sway over Sacramento, and it has so much say in how the laws are written. So, you know, do you think it's a flaw in the private marketplace? I certainly do, and part of the flaw is that the private marketplace is regulating itself, and it took 8 years to do this. I mean, our state is going to take 8 years to figure this out. You know, no wonder we have to wait 48 hours for an emergency service, call. It's ridiculous.
Well, the important thing is, if you need a doctor, you got to be able to see a doctor. Okay.